Let's talk about something we all face, those really tough, thorny ethical decisions. In this explainer, we're going to walk through a framework that helps clear the fog by looking both outward to God's character and inward at our own hearts. It's all about finding that clear path forward. So let's just dive right in.
We've all been there, right? You're staring down a choice, and the right answer just feels impossible to find. It's that feeling of being totally stuck at a crossroads, with no idea which way you're supposed to turn.
Does that sound familiar? I mean, that feeling of being caught, where every single option seems to have a downside or a real risk. It's honestly one of the most stressful parts of life, and especially of leadership.
So why is it so incredibly hard to see clearly sometimes? Well, a lot of the time, that fog we're in, it's coming from inside. Our own motives, our fears about what might happen, and all those little biases we don't even know we have. They can turn a tough decision into a total maze.
So if you're lost in that internal fog, where in the world do you find a compass? Well, the framework we're looking at today says that before you even start looking at rules or specific verses, you need an anchor, something solid and unchanging that'll hold you steady no matter what.
And this is it. This is that anchor. The absolute bedrock for any trustworthy decision is the character of God. Think about it. His nature never ever changes. That makes it the most reliable compass you could possibly have when you're trying to find your way.
Okay, so what does that compass look like? Well, the first point is holiness. Now, this isn't about being stuffy or self-righteous. It's about aligning our choices with God's perfect standard. It's a call to integrity, a commitment to what is truly right, not just what's easy or what everyone else is doing.
Next up, love. And we're not talking about a passive feeling here. This is a powerful, active force. It's a love that is constantly working for the ultimate good of other people. So when we're at that crossroads, we have to ask ourselves, is this choice actually driven by a real compassionate desire to help?
The third pillar is justice. This points to God's deep, inherent fairness. It calls us to make decisions that are impartial, that hold people accountable in a right way, and that don't play favorites. It's really about doing what's right and fair for every single person involved.
And finally, truth. This is so foundational. God is truth. This means our actions need to reflect that. It demands honesty, transparency, and reliability. You just can't build trust in ministry and relationships anywhere without it.
Okay, so once we're anchored in God's character, the lens turns. It points right back at us. The next step is some really honest self-reflection. We have to figure out who's actually at the steering wheel making the decision. Is it our old, broken nature, or is it the new self that we're called to be?
And this whole idea of looking inward is grounded in something truly beautiful, the imago Dei. It's this profound truth that every single person is made in God's image. We all have this incredible built-in value. Remembering that completely changes how we see ourselves and how we treat others. It's not just about who we think we are, it's about who God says we are. Now, this is where it gets really practical, doesn't it? Scripture is constantly calling us to this transformation, to literally take off the old self, like old clothes, and put on the new. So the question for you and me right now is a tough one. Which mask are we actually wearing? Whose actions are we mirroring in our day-to-day lives? And this chart just lays it out so clearly. Look at the put-off side. You've got things like corrupting talk, gossip, sarcasm, just tearing people down. But then on the put-on side, the alternative is to build up with grace, to use words that actually help and strengthen. It's the same with our attitudes. Are we hanging on to bitterness and anger, or are we choosing kindness and forgiveness? This isn't theoretical. It's a choice we make every single day. So we have our foundation in God's character, and we're committed to being honest with ourselves. The good news is we're not just left there to guess what to do next. There is a clear, step-by-step process for turning all these principles into truly wise decisions.
So here's the roadmap. First, you gather. Get all the facts on the table, no assumptions. Then, step 2, you reflect. This is that honest look in the mirror about your own feelings and biases. Third, you brainstorm your options, and this is so important, you talk to a wise, discerning person who isn't caught up in the situation. And finally, you decide, bringing it all together with Scripture and prayer.
And the real engine driving this whole process is a spirit of humility. This verse from James isn't just a nice thought, it's the core of it all. It reminds us that the wisdom we need for these big moments, well, it's a gift, and all we have to do is ask for it.
Now, it is so tempting to think that once you've made the decision, you're done. check the box, move on. But this framework sees things very differently. It sees every single choice not as a finish line, but as one more step in a lifelong cycle of growth.
So that final step is really a new beginning. After you've acted, you take the time to reflect. What happened? What were the results? Good or bad? What did you learn from it? I mean, this part is absolutely crucial. It keeps us humble, and it makes sure we don't just make decisions, but that we actually become wiser people over time.
Okay, so to pull it all together, what are the big takeaways? First, anchor your choices in God's character. It's your true north. Second, be brutally honest with yourself about whether the old self or the new self is in the driver's seat. Third, follow that practical, scripture-based process. And finally, remember that this is a journey. It's about lifelong growth, not one-off perfection.
And that brings us to one last question, something for you to take with you. As you think about your own life right now, your family, your work, your community, what's that one decision, that one crossroads you're facing that could really use the kind of clarity this whole process can bring?